Hello everyone, I am Shayok Nag and today I'll be presenting our work Unbiased Scene Graph Generation in videos. Our goal is to perform dynamic scene graph generation, which is aimed at spatial grounding of objects and their pairwise relationships, also called predicates, in each video frame, along with learning the temporal dependencies of these visual relationships. Existing frameworks are prone to generating biased scene graphs due to the long-tail nature of the predicate class distribution. Additionally, noisy labeling such as missing annotations, multiple possible correct predicates, and high triplet variability further increase the predictive uncertainty of scene graph generation models. Furthermore, existing frameworks are also prone to producing temporally inconsistent object classification, since motion blur and occlusion in videos can render off-the-shelf pre-trained object detectors ineffective. In this work, we propose a framework to address these challenges and facilitate the generation of more unbiased scene graphs in videos. Our proposed framework is named Tempora. To enable more temporally consistent object classification, we propose a learnable sequence processing setup. Inspired by meta-learning literature, we propose a novel memory-guided training strategy to address the long-tail nature of the predicate distribution. And finally, to model and attenuate the effects of uncertain predictions, we designed the predicate classification head as a Gaussian mixture model. First, we go over the object sequence processing unit, which is used to perform temporally consistent object classification. Using a pre-trained object detector, first all objects in each video frames are detected. Then, we form a sequence linking the proposal features of the objects with the same detected class in consecutive frames of the video. This sequence is then processed by a transformer encoder which leverages the multi-head attention to produce more long-term temporally consistent object embeddings. The embeddings are then classified by a two-layer feed-forward network. The losses associated with the OSPU are the standard cross-entropy loss for object classification and a supervised intra-video contrastive loss that enhances the temporal consistency of the encoder-generated object embeddings with the same ground truth class. The predicate embedding generator assimilates information of each subject-object pair to generate a spatiotemporal representation of their predicates. Inspired by the recent success of transformers in spatiotemporal reasoning, we designed the PEG as a spatiotemporal transformer. The input to the PEG is a handcrafted multimodal representation, which is a concatenation of the object pair's semantic information, visual information in the form of object detector proposals, and finally their spatial location information. The transformer encoder learns the spatial context of the predicates. On the other hand, the transformer decoder learns the temporal evolution of the predicates over a fixed size sliding window. The representations learned by the PEG tend to be very biased towards the data-rich predicates. To debias these representations, we propose a novel memory-guided training strategy. This strategy involves constructing a memory bank containing predicate-wise memory prototypes which are computed as centroids of their corresponding predicate embeddings in the entire training set. Since object pairs have multiple correct predicates, many data-poor and data-rich classes share similar characteristics. Therefore, the memory prototypes also share many inter-class predicate embeddings. We exploit this fact and design a memory diffusion unit that enables diffusion of knowledge from data-rich to data-poor classes to produce more balanced embeddings. The MDU first computes cross-attention between the memory bank and a predicate embedding to produce compensatory information about data-poor classes, which is otherwise missing in the original embedding. Then a weighted residual connection is used to add this information back to the original predicate embedding in order to make it more balanced. The residual weight lambda controls the knowledge diffusion between the data-rich and the data-poor classes, and an optimal lambda gives the best results. The memory bank for each epoch is constructed using the previous epoch's predicate embeddings, and thus the MDU operation starts from the second epoch onwards. The MDU is used only during the training phase and functions as a structural meta-regularizer, teaching the PEG how to produce more balanced representations that are generalizable across all predicate classes. Finally, to mitigate the bias towards the inherent noise associated with the predicates, we designed the predicate classification head as a k-component Gaussian mixture model. For each predicate, the GMM components, that is the mean, variance, and mixing coefficients, are obtained using feed-forward projections of the predicate representation. The confidence score of each predicate is computed by sampling from the Gaussian distribution using the reparameterization trick. For each predicate class, there are two types of predictive uncertainty: the aleatoric uncertainty and the epistemic uncertainty. The former is associated with the inherent noise in the data and is computed using the modeled variances of the k-GMM components. The latter, on the other hand, represents model uncertainty, which is exacerbated by the lack of data samples. The predicate classification loss, which is a sigmoidal binary cross entropy, incorporates this modeled aleatoric uncertainty. It thus penalizes the framework when the model predictive uncertainty is high, thereby attenuating the effects of noisy data. The entire framework is trained end-to-end by minimizing the following loss. The performance of Tempura is evaluated on the Action Genome Benchmark, which consists of 35 object classes and 26 human-object interaction predicates. 3 scene graph generation tasks are chosen, namely predicate classification, scene graph classification, and end-to-end scene graph detection. Performance is evaluated under two setups, constrained and unconstrained. These are quantified using the metrics recall at k and mean recall at k. Recall at k has been shown to be biased towards the data-rich classes, while mean recall at k is much more balanced, offering a better indication of the unbiasedness of generated scene graphs. The following tables show the performance of Tempura in comparison to the existing state of the art. The optimal lambda for each task is obtained empirically. Tempura outperforms existing state of the art in generating more unbiased scene graphs, as evident from the higher mean recall values. Also, Tempura does not compromise on the recall values, which shows that it performs equally or better than the other methods in detecting the data-rich predicates as well. This can be verified from the following charts, which show that in most cases Tempura achieves far better performance for the body and tail classes without compromising performance on the head predicate classes. Some comparative qualitative visualization of the generated scene graphs are shown in this slide. Tempura produces fewer false positives compared to the baseline ST-tran. To understand whether the predictive uncertainty is truly being attenuated or not, we can take a look at the following charts. These show that both the aleatoric and the epistemic uncertainty decreases with the progress of the training epochs. The total epoch-wise uncertainties are obtained by averaging the individual uncertainties of all the training samples. By attenuating the predictive uncertainty, the model becomes more confident of its predictions, thereby reducing the impact of data noise. I thank you all for listening to my presentation. The paper and code can be found in the following links, and I'll be happy to answer your questions at the poster presentation.